Hello from the NewsMike. The wars in Ukraine and Iran appear to be widening, with as many as 20 Russian missiles apparently headed for Poland a couple of days ago, all shot down by Polish munitions except one exploded, leaving a huge crater in an uninhabited area. There is an assumption that the missiles were intended to explode in Ukraine, but if so, it was an almost deadly mistake on Russia's part. An example of how war can inadvertently go wrong. The Kiev Independent reports, if people had died, this would have been considered an act of war by Russia on Poland, a NATO state, which until now has not been part of this war. Iran, meanwhile, appears to widen their attacks to famously include Jordan, which was an attack on U.S. interests, and to now include Egypt, until now not part of this war, which also appeared to attack U.S. interests. All of this as hope for peace continues, but talks are not happening with Russia and are unproductive with Iran just right now. But if Russian President Vladimir Putin is getting desperate or even antsy, he could attack the Baltic nations, including Lithuania, NATO nations, where Putin has enormous military and technical facilities on the Russian side of the borders, just waiting to be used as part of an attack. Part of a war? Were that to happen, though, NATO would be required to respond militarily unless diplomacy is an option. Either way, a Putin move such as this is a war game changer. Sal Merculiano of What's Going On with Shipping at YouTube says the Strait of Hormuz is not open, although some ships are getting through, including a little oil. The struggle over the strait has been a big problem for months, of course, and it's becoming clearer to the United States and Israel that more action is required to get Iran in a talkative mood for peace. So military action is planned right away. That action is expected to center around energy sites in Iran. That's according to CBS News. There could be bombings of refineries or oil deposits, power stations, portions of the electrical grid. Iran cannot be guaranteed that Egypt will stay out of the fighting, though, and that's now that Iran has attacked an Egyptian port. The Egyptian army is legendary for its fighting capacity, the strongest army in the Arab world. So let's see how long the leadership of Iran can hold back from attacks on their own, on Tehran. Attacks, bombs, explosions. Blood isn't the only thing spilling in the Middle East and Ukraine, although it's the most precious with respect to human life and the casualties of war. But oil is spilling too by the millions of barrels as Saudi Arabian tankers are attacked by the Houthis in Yemen, that little nation that borders Arabia. They're pushing the Saudis with vows to further attack ships and pipelines that would only cause more pain for nations that need oil and energy to survive. So why focus on oil? Well, it's the one thing all nations need to keep going, and it's being destroyed all over the world, along with water. This will catch up with us, possibly in a crisis soon. You and I have to continue watching what's going on around the world, because as each day goes by, it affects us more and more, from rising prices because of a diesel fuel shortage to the fights over resources that could cause Russia or some other nation to become desperate. Experts will tell you there's little chance that any nation will use the nuclear option, that no one wants that it would spiral out of control. I hope they're right, because I can name you a few experts who believe some desperate nation will go nuclear, and that's the most alarming thought of all. But this is the reality. We must keep our cool, stay cool, chill. Don't ignore the reality of changes going on around us all over the world, whether it's the slow, beneficial, or even detrimental encroachment of artificial intelligence, or the fast encroaching political hatred that threatens to separate Americans from each other so much that we don't even talk anymore. Everyone thinks they're right and good, and the other side is hypocritical and idiotic, uninformed. Those people who cling to MS Now or Fox News, they're not even worthy of listening to, right? And anyone who thinks this is wrong. I'm Mike Shiloh.